And his cry to the Lord is, create in me a clean heart. He doesn't say, God, give me more rules.
Has there ever been a point in your life where you have desired something and then you got the thing only to realize on the backside it wasn't what it was really cracked up to be?
Yes.
And so if our heart is directed towards the world, it's not directed towards God. How do we reverse that? Hey there, and welcome to Growing Forward, a resource to help you keep growing between Sundays. My name is Andy.
And my name is Heather.
Heather, so good to see you.
So good to see you
I'm glad you're here.
Another week.
I guess you could say we're like co-hosts now.
I kind of feel like we are.
Yeah, we got a co-host thing going on here.
It's turned into that.
Yeah.
Before
fun.
it was like I would kind of make little comments behind the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Then I came on as like, let's see how this goes as a conversation. And
Here you are.
here we are. It's
stepping
been
up.
really fun.
We're stepping up. Hey, if you're tuning in for the very first time, hey, we're glad you're here. We just love to have a conversation around Bible and life and whatever it is that might be just relevant in the moment. So glad that you're here. We're going to have a fun conversation today. If you haven't done it yet, you want to kind of hang out with us along the journey, go ahead and hit subscribe on whatever it is, whatever platform you may be watching on today. We are going to talk about desires. And so, Heather, let me start just with an opening question. Has there ever been a point in your life where you have desired something, like you strongly wanted it, and then you got the thing only to realize on the backside it wasn't what it was really cracked up to be?
Yes. So we were thinking of examples, and I wanted to share this not as a way to say that this isn't a good thing, but to say that even good things are not going to ultimately satisfy us. So my example would be that when I was single throughout my 20s, very strongly desiring marriage, I got to a place where I thought, if only I could be married, then, never will I struggle with loneliness again. Never will I struggle with longings or doubt. And praise the Lord, he did answer that desire of my heart with marriage 6 years ago. And he has done amazing things in the marriage covenant.
Yeah.
And it is such a blessing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it didn't satisfy all of those things that I thought it would accomplish because it wasn't designed to do that.
Yeah.
And so it has revealed it's a good thing, but it's not an ultimate.
Yeah.
It's not an ultimate thing.
That's like a really great response. I think my head thinks more like, man, there was one time I desired pizza and then I ate it and it wasn't what it was cracked up to be. But that's even more impactful and meaningful because it doesn't really matter what status we are in our life. There's always like a next level or another place that we'd rather be than cultivate the area that we already are. I know a friend that I worked with for a while. He used to always say the grass is always greener where it's watered.
Right.
It's not greener on the other side of the fence, but it is greener wherever you water it. But using your example, I remember being in junior high thinking, man, if I could just get to high school, if I could be a freshman in high school, then I would have made it. I would have arrived. And then you get to high school and you're like, man, it's not what it's cracked up to be. And then you think, man, if I could just graduate and get to college, then I'll be free. Then I can be independent. Then I can do what I want.
Yes.
And then you get to college and you're like, man, it's like it's fun for a week. You're like, man, this is hard work.
Right.
This isn't what it was, what it's all cracked up to be. And then it's if I could just graduate college, if I could just get a job, if I could just get married, if we could just have kids, if I could just retire. And like it is an endless desire that we have. And so today, let's talk about those desires. What do we do with those desires? How should we direct them? And more specifically, what does the Bible have to say about the desires of our hearts?
Yeah.
So this past weekend, we introduced a judge named Samson.
Yeah.
And we're actually going to spend another week with him this coming week. He's got a fascinating story, 4 chapters in the book of Judges. And I started off just wanting to just identify that here you have this man with extraordinary strength, but he also had an extraordinary weakness. And if you ask most people who know a little bit about Samson's life, what is his weakness? Most people would say women.
Right.
That Samson had a weakness for women. He's attracted to this Philistine woman early on in Judges, and then he shows up at a prostitute's house later on in the book of Judges, and then he's got this thing for Delilah, and he just has to have her as his wife. And so you could say that Samson has a weakness for women, but women were just the symptom of a deeper issue for Samson. And so I identified really three areas of weakness for Samson. He had a weakness of eyes, a weakness of flesh, and a weakness of pride. Mm-hmm. Another way to say it, he has an eye problem, a flesh problem, and a pride problem. And then we're going to recap and get to a point here, but then I connected Samson's three weaknesses with the three temptations that Jesus experienced from the devil while in the wilderness. Mm-hmm. Satan first starts with the temptation of the eyes. Look at these stones. Don't you desire them to become bread? Mm-hmm. You can transform them. Just say the word. And Jesus redirects to a greater need, a greater satisfaction of knowing the word of his Father. It takes him up, temptation number 2, takes him up to the top of the temple, jump off, and just watch as God will send angels to rescue you. He's appealing to the fleshly desires of Jesus. But Jesus says, hey, don't put the Lord your God to the test. And so the third temptation of Satan, which he's only got 3 plays, that he runs over and over and over. And so then he's going to try to prick the pride of Jesus, but he only finds humility, takes him to the kingdom, said, look out. Satan says, Jesus, I can make you an important person. I can lift you up. I can give you all the authority over all of these kingdoms if you'll only bow down and worship me. And Jesus says, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. So the point is, Samson, at his greatest point of strength, fails the eye test, the flesh test, and the pride test. And Jesus, at his weakest fleshly moment, 40 days of fasting in the desert, he has victory over temptation with the eye test, the pride test, and the flesh test. Now, here's the secret. All right, here's what we didn't have time to cover in the message. Yes. And I probably made an assumption, Heather, that people knew this, that there's this Bible verse in 1 John chapter 2 that really connects the dots. Because I didn't just look at the life of Samson and go, okay, what's the deeper root sin here?
Right.
And then just come up with, oh, I think he has an eye problem. You know, he's looking where he shouldn't be looking. He has a flesh problem. He's desiring something he shouldn't be desiring. And he has a pride problem. He's really working hard to puff himself up and make himself look good in front of others. But I did not come up with those.
Right. You took it from a different source
that
had already outlined this for us.
Yeah. 1 John. Chapter 2. Okay, verse 15 through 17. Let me read this. Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Now watch this. For everything, say everything. Everything. I want everyone to highlight that. For everything in the world. And then he lists 3 things. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride in one's possessions is not from the Father, but it is from the world. And the world with its lust is passing away. But the one who does the will of God remains forever. Yeah. So there you have it. Ripped it right out of the Bible.
Yeah. I love how it outlines it for us, and we just get to unpack it.
Yeah.
We don't have to kind of come up with these on our own.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You can actually take that 3. Again, Satan only has 1 playbook. It has 3 plays. Right. He runs it over and over and over. Go back to Genesis chapter 3. When the serpent tempts Eve, it actually says that the woman saw that the tree was good for food. Okay, so it's the flesh test, right? She wants to feed her physical body. It's, hey, this is good for food and delightful to look at, right? She's got her eyes fixed on it.
Right.
And that it was desirable for obtaining wisdom. She took some of its fruit and ate it. So at the very beginning, the very first temptation, right out of the gate, we have lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. And I bet you can look through any Old Testament faith character, any New Testament faith character like Peter, okay, and you're going to see one of these root sins at play: lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. Any thoughts?
It's just cool that you get to run them through that kind of rubric, because it can feel overwhelming to think, the myriad of sin and temptations that we will deal with. How can we ever kind of wrap our minds around all of it? But it's nice to have this. It's not clean by any means, but it kind of gives us a way to look at our hearts, to
Yeah.
combat and to examine
Yeah.
ourselves a little bit deeper.
Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking that, if you're going up against another football team and they've got an offense that has like 1,000 different plays, you've got to be prepared for a lot. But if you're going up against a team and they run 3 plays,
you just got to know those
you
3
just
plays.
have to know those 3 plays.
That's right.
And how to defend them. Okay. And so based on the verse in 1 John chapter 2, there's 3 things that I just want to point out for us today. The first thing is this: there are only 3 kinds of temptation. There are only 3 kinds of temptation. What we think there's 1,000 different times. 1,000 different types of temptation, or there's 1,000 different ways of sinning, and there's a lot of different fruit sins, but there's only 3 root sins: lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. And so instead of trying to be on guard against anything and everything, that can feel overwhelming. But the way we combat the enemy is to go, all right, at any given moment, I'm either going to struggle with an eye problem. My eyes are going to be looking where they don't need to be looking.
Right.
Okay. And it may be something like, I'm just discouraged. Maybe you're discouraged because you're looking at your neighbor, okay, and what kind of car they're driving versus the car you're driving. And instead of looking up and giving thanks to God for the car that you have, your eyes aren't where they need to be, so you are discouraged.
Right.
Okay. So lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, that speaks to desires. There's a certain way we want to feel. We want to feel comfortable. Yeah. We want to feel in control. We want to feel powerful. We want to feel important. And so any sort of temptation that has to deal with your fleshly desires is going to be a lust of the flesh. And then we have the pride of life. Satan is going to try to prick at our pride and put our attention on ourselves and put the focus on ourselves. And so we've just got to be careful in all 3 of those order.
That's right.
Can we test this on a couple of sins and see how
I think we should.
Eyes, flesh, and pride show up in those?
Yeah,
all right.
Let's do it.
Let's start with the big one. All right, a temptation like murder. Heather, how would murder display the flesh?
Yeah. Well, that's an action that usually is born out of incredible anger, rage, this idea that someone else's life is of no value so much that it can be taken.
Yeah.
In your, and taken by your own hands.
Yeah.
So that might have a couple of them going on.
So the sin of murder would have the flesh problem, right? You have this anger that's boiling over that you would take someone's life. It also identifies the root sin of the pride problem, where like how prideful do you have to be to think that you have the authority to take someone else's life?
Right.
Like you have the authority to play God in that situation. That's pride.
Right.
Okay. So So murder, we got 2 of the 3 at least. Let's talk about lying. In the sin of lying, I think pride shows up. Pride is, hey, I'm going to make myself look better by withholding the truth.
That's right.
And we all do this, right? We tell a story about how someone has offended us, but we leave the part out where we maybe instigated or our role in that. We're lying. We're intentionally trying to deceive. And so lying is a fruit sin, and pride is the root of that sin.
Right.
I think lust of the eyes could also be relevant, or a root of lying. Maybe you have your eyes fixed on something and you want it so bad that you will lie or deceit or bend the truth in order to get what it is that you have your eyes on. So, yeah. Let's look at a third sin. And this sin, instead of like going big murder or like lying that a lot of people do, what about the sin of not sharing the gospel with other people?
Right. Disobedience in what you're not doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think pride shows up in that one. Like, how prideful do you have to be disobedient to Christ's command to share the gospel of Jesus Christ?
Yeah.
To make disciples of all nations.
I wonder if it's also a little bit of not lust of the flesh, but where we don't want to get uncomfortable. We don't want to feel that awkwardness or that discomfort of starting a new conversation or delving into the gospel with a non-believer, because it's not comfortable to do that sometimes.
Yeah. And so we're valuing our comfort, which is a fleshly desire, over obedience to Christ. Yeah. And so at the root, is is a lust of the flesh. And so the point is, no matter what sin it is that's out there, you can kind of uncover and peel back the layers, and you're going to see your eyes are not in the right place. You're desiring some sort of fleshly desire, or pride is at work in that. Also, in not sharing your faith, there's like a pride. Sometimes people say, well, I don't know what to say. It's like that's pride because you're focused on yourself. Like your eyes, okay, are on yourself versus on Jesus. Going, you know what? He's the one who's going to provide the words.
The words and the confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. So, point number one, there are only three kinds of temptation. If Satan's going to take you down, it's going to be with your eyes, it's going to be with your flesh, or it's going to be with your pride. And so in defense, we have to keep our eyes on Jesus.
Yes.
We have to crucify the flesh, right? We have to die to our fleshly desires. And we have to humble ourselves before the Lord. And one of the ways we do that is we worship. We exalt Him. And like it's the mantra of John the Baptist, right? He must increase. I must decrease. That's the antidote. If we can figure out how to live out those three things, right? Eyes on Jesus, crucify the flesh, humble ourselves by worshiping Him. Man, that's going to take us the distance.
Yeah, those are our weapons.
Yeah. Cool. Number two, second thing I want you to know today is worldly desires can never be satisfied. As we look back at that passage in 1 John chapter 2, it says, and the world with its lust is passing away. Lust means to desire, and it is a strong desire. It's like a dog panting. It's like there's something you want so bad. And I love that John uses the word lust here, and it's almost, you see lust and love as comparisons there in 1 John. The book of 1 John says a lot about what it looks like to love God. And now he's kind of comparing loving God with the lust of the world. And love keeps our eyes outwardly focused on others. Lust is like when we have our eyes on ourselves. There's something that we want, and we're going to do whatever it is that we can in order to have it or attain it. And so he says the world with its lust, what's happening? It is passing away. And so here's the thing about our desires. Our worldly desires can never be satisfied. It's like we're craving something that craving can never be fulfilled. And that's a sad place to be because there's no contentment, there's no joy in that. A couple of verses to throw out. Ecclesiastes 1:8 says, all things are wearisome, more than one can express. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor is the ear filled with hearing. What does that say to you?
Wow. Our eyes are meant to see, and our ears are meant to hear. But if we are, to be looking at things or hearing words that just are not of the Lord, it can never be satisfied with the very thing that it is even designed to do.
Yeah.
So that tells me there is something that we are designed to look at. There is something we are to be beholding.
Yeah.
But it is not going to be found in the world.
That's a really good point. Like your eyes were meant to see.
They're meant to see.
But you're never going to see enough. There's always more to see.
There's always more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your ears are meant to hear. But there's always more that we crave to hear.
Yes.
Yeah. That's coming from Solomon, right? Wisest guy that ever lived.
Yeah.
He also says this in Ecclesiastes 5:10, whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income.
Right.
And so again, you'll never have enough. Like worldly desires can never truly be satisfied. You'll never have enough money. You'll never have enough time. Like how many times are we guilty of saying, oh, if I just had more time.
Yes.
If we had 26 hours in a day, we would be saying, if I just had more time.
Always.
If we had 48 hours in a day,
yes,
we would be saying, oh, if I just had enough time. Like there's never enough time. You'll never have enough experiences. Like vacations and experiences and foods and tastes and sights and sounds and movies. Like we're always craving that one more experience.
Yes.
And usually it comes when we hear someone else who had an experience and we're like, man, I want to go do that. You'll never have enough stuff. You'll never have enough love, okay? You'll never have enough. There's always this tiny little craving for more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And so one thing I have discovered, Heather, is that contentment isn't having more. It's wanting less.
Right.
We think I'll be content when,
Mm-hmm.
but you won't. It's always a moving target. You will never be satisfied. So contentment is not having more. It's not one more step away. It's actually wanting less. It's actually removing the worldly desire, saying, you know what? I don't want that.
Yes.
I don't need that experience. I don't have to see that. I don't have to be a part of that. I don't have to enjoy that. I don't have to eat that. I don't have to travel there. I don't have to make that much. That's where we find true contentment.
Yeah. Because the only way to say that where contentment is having more, we can never have too much of Jesus. And if we're chasing after more and more and more of him, we also in this life he's a kind of endless well. We'll never kind of be able to behold all of him. But therein lies where we can find some contentment with more. Yeah. But it has to be of him.
Yeah. And I love, you just reminded me, like when Jesus, he didn't say, I am the bread. He said, I'm the bread of life. And he didn't say, I am the water. He said, I'm the living water. He didn't say, I'm the shepherd. He said, I'm the good shepherd.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of some others. They're coming to my memory. But he's life-giving whenever you walk with him and when you make him your desire. I preached this in a sermon one time. I wanted to bring it up here. There are things that we reach for that cannot fulfill the things that we long for. So we all have this longing. Some people call it a God-shaped hole. And because of this longing, there's things that we reach for to fulfill the longing. But the things that we reach for cannot fulfill the things that we long for. Right. A couple of examples. We long for peace, but we reach for control. We long for relief, and so we reach for drunkenness. We long for comfort, so we reach for food. We long for completeness, so we reach for romance. Right. Back to the whole marriage conversation that kicked us off. We long for purpose in life, and so we reach for perfection. We long for acceptance of others, and so we reach for being liked. We long for joy, so we reach for pleasure. We long for security, so we reach for work or income. Right. We long for attention, so we reach for laughs. And the thing is, when we reach for those things, we keep reaching and reaching and reaching, and it never will satisfy. Right. But when we long for peace and we reach for Christ, you have peace.
That's right.
When you long for relief and comfort, you reach for Christ, you have relief and you have comfort. You long for purpose or completeness. When you reach for Christ, you will have purpose and completeness. And so Jesus becomes that life-giving water and that bread of life that truly does satisfy the longings of our heart.
Yes. It's reminding me of the Psalm, I think it's Psalm 16. The exact scripture we'll put maybe in the show notes, but I always go back to it because it's a verse that I want so badly to always be true of my heart. In your presence, there is fullness of joy. At your right hand, there are pleasures forevermore. Yeah. I'm like, oh, don't I want fullness of joy? Don't I want endless pleasures that are just, there for me, but truly can satisfy? And it's like, the Bible literally tells us, go here. It's in the presence. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yes, I love that.
There's a quote by C.S. Lewis: if we find ourselves with a desire that nothing in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that we were made for another world.
I love that quote.
It's so true. Yeah. That is so true. And we have these desires and we reach for things in the world they can't satisfy. So what does it mean? C.S. Lewis says, well, it probably means we were made for another world.
That's right.
We were made for a relationship with our Heavenly Father, to be part of His kingdom. So, hey, third thing I want to throw out there. Again, we're kind of unpacking some verses in 1 John chapter 2. The third thing is this: you can't satisfy with rules what was meant to be satisfied with relationship. You can't satisfy with rules what was meant to be satisfied with relationship. So back to this whole idea, what brings the satisfaction is a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so when it comes to sin and when it comes to the temptations, what we can easily do is to begin to create rules in our life. If we have an eye problem, we can start to create all these rules to kind of guard our eye problem. Or if we have a flesh problem, we can create all these rules and disciplines around keeping our flesh, in the right direction. Or if we have a pride problem, we can create all these rules to try to protect us of our pride. But here's the thing. You can create all of those rules and still have a heart that is walking away from God.
True.
You can still have a heart that desires sin. Sin is not always external. Sin can also be internal. And so these external rules do not solve the internal problem that we have of sin.
That's right.
And so the solution is not more rules. The solution is to walk in a life-giving relationship with the Father through his Son, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Makes me think of David, again, going back to the Psalms. I think it's Psalm 51. After he has fallen into sin with Bathsheba, and his cry to the Lord is, create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me. He doesn't say, God, give me more rules. Help me to have a little bit more control. Though those self-keeping things can have some wisdom in it, he asks for a complete new heart.
Yeah.
And that's,
I
internal.
heard that monks used to, they recognized that they had this sin problem. So they said, what the solution is? If we can go isolate ourselves and completely remove ourselves from the world, then we won't have the sin problem anymore. And what they found was they removed themselves from the world and they still had the sin problem.
Yeah.
Because the world is not just out there. That world is in here. We have a heart problem.
Wow.
So how do we combat it? Well, we combat it with a relationship with the Father. Let me go back to 1 John chapter 2 and reread verse 15. It says, do not love the world or the things in the world. So notice that word love. Don't love the world. That speaks to the heart.
That does.
Don't let your heart desire after the things of the world. He goes on to say, if anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. And so if our heart is directed towards the world, it's not directed towards God.
Right.
So how do we reverse that? Well, we direct our heart towards the Father.
Right.
Like if the love of the Father is in you, can I tell you something? You're not going to have a love of the world. In fact, if you're to think about something in your life right now, something worldly, something fleshly, something physical, and you were just to begin to think, like, what would my life look like without that? If you immediately start to get sad and attached and like, nope, I can't let that go. Look, your heart is attached to something in the world.
Yeah.
How do you solve that? How do you replace that? Well, it's replaced not with rules.
Right.
Okay, but it's replaced with relationship with the Father. The more and more that you walk with him, the more and more you know him, the more and more you love him with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your strength, and with all of your mind, the more and more those other things they just start to lose their value.
Yes. I'm thinking of the song that says, turn your eyes upon, or fix your eyes upon Jesus.
Yeah, turn your eyes on Jesus.
On Jesus.
Look full in his wonderful face.
You got it. And the things of earth will grow
strangely dim. Yeah.
I'm like, what
I'm
are
letting
the
you
words?
finish it, but
Yes.
strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace.
Yes. We're fixing our eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. But I love that glory in the light of his glory and grace. And the word glory, the literal definition is something weighty, something heavy.
Yes.
And so it's like on one side of the scale, you put like this 100-pound weight, and on the other side of the scale, there's this feather. And what we do is we put all the weight and value on the feather. The Bible calls it's a light, even like affliction. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
But the Bible says it's a light and momentary affliction compared to what? Compared to the glory.
Wow.
Right? And compared to the inheritance of what we will receive with our Heavenly Father forever and ever.
Wow.
And so his glory really does outweigh anything in this world.
That's right.
So I want to close with Matthew chapter 5, verse 6, taken right out of the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus is saying, blessed are you, blessed are you, blessed are you, basically saying happy.
Yeah.
Another word to translate that is contentment. There's a joy here in this kind of living.
Yes.
Matthew 5, verse 6, listen to this. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. It reminds me that we can be satisfied when our hunger is pointed in the right direction, when we are hungry and thirsty for righteousness. When we're seeking first his kingdom and his righteousness, Jesus said all these things will be added unto you. So check your desires. All right, I need to check my desires. Where are my eyes?
Yes.
Where's my flesh? How's my pride? Or if you have a calling, then you have a test. And so good reminders for all of us today. Hey, we hope this conversation helps you grow in your walk with the Lord. If you're not actively growing, you're naturally drifting. So don't stop. Don't quit. Keep growing forward.